Despite a phenomenal win over the Miami Heat last night, the Philadelphia 76ers have some serious issues to work through before they reach the NBA playoffs. And while I have by no means given up on this team and their title chances, I've also got to be honest and say they could lose in the second round and it wouldn't be that much of a shock to me. It's unfortunate, I would be incredibly disappointed and upset if that happened, but it is not out of the question, just like it wasn't for the last several seasons. So today, I want to talk about both the good and the bad with this Philadelphia team and what they need to do if they are going to have a shot at the NBA championship. Let's start off with some good things about the team, and when you say good and Philadelphia 76ers, you have to begin with Joel Embiid. The man has looked phenomenal all season long. He's arguably still the frontrunner for MVP, and James Harden couldn't look like much better of a second star next to him. I think it's safe to say at this point that anyone who believes the James Harden trade was bad for Philly is an absolute buffoon, because these two look perfect together. The pick and roll, beautiful, sexy even. It is incredible to watch these two play off each other, and when they are on the floor together, the Sixers are pretty much unstoppable. Even when you've got possessions where Joel's shot isn't falling, Harden's stepbacks aren't falling, they're not getting to the rim like they want to, these two guys have the incredible ability to just force their way to the free throw line and make their free throws like no other duo in NBA history ever has. It is incredible to see a game where both players shoot below 40% from the field and they still finish with over 20 points apiece because each of them managed to get to the line 10 plus times. These guys combine for 15 to 20 made free throws on a bad night. On a good night, we're talking about 35 to 40. These dudes are absolutely incredible, and I really can't stress enough just how important it is to have two players who, when they need to, can force the game to slow down. They can force the opponent to foul them, they get some easy points, and they retake the rhythm of the game. Because there is almost nothing more disheartening for a team than to be going on some run, and all of a sudden you're putting your opponent at the free throw line on every single possession. You get in foul trouble, you have to be more careful on defense, any momentum you may have been gaining is halted when the refs blow that whistle. It's really a gift, and I love that these two players are working so well together. Meanwhile, Tyrese Maxey has looked like a legitimate third star next to Embiid and Harden. He's had some inconsistencies here and there, as you'd expect from a second-year player, but overall, the kid has just looked like a bona fide all-star. He really has. In that game against the Heat last night, he showed what he could do when he was the number one option, and when he plays next to Harden, he looks incredible. It is so nice to have him being the secondary ball handler instead of the primary one, and it's not like Maxey was a bad playmaker, but his main game is running his ass off on the floor, going out in transition, cutting to the basket, and catching open three-pointers. The man has become an incredible three-point shooter out of nowhere. He's one of the best finishers in the league. He's got a great floater game, he's got a good put-up mid-range, and he's just so damn fast that if he gets you off the catch and he's already moving before his defender, there's nothing they can do. There really is nothing they can do to stop him. Tyrese Maxey has been an absolute godsend for this Sixers team. I can't believe he fell to us at 21, but I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for it every single day because, woo, Maxey is amazing. I don't know why I did some little Southern preacher thing there, but moving on. After these three players, however, the issues become very apparent with the Philadelphia 76ers, and honestly, they really start with James Harden. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey are the two guys who you can call pretty much blameless. Yeah, you can nitpick with them, but for the most part, they don't have many issues, alright? Those two dudes are consistent bucket getters who make the right plays most of the time. But James Harden has had some struggles this season. His three-point shot is not falling like it used to, and that is combined with the fact that he doesn't blow past his man like he used to either. He very clearly is not as fast as he once was in Houston, and combined with the fact that his step-back jumper has been a little inconsistent, he's really struggling. Now, James Harden is still rusty. He hasn't played that much this season, and I do have hope that he is going to get it together by the playoffs. We've got about 10 to 15 games left, and I really do believe that James Harden will, even if he doesn't become his old self, become better than he has been right now, become more consistently good. If he makes a few more of those threes, if he gets to the rim just a little bit better, he will be just fine. We don't need him to be superstar James Harden on Houston. We just need him to be an above-average all-star like he was at his best in Brooklyn. And in the first couple games after we traded for him, the dude looked great and then he started to fall off. We just need him to get back to that point again, all right? James Harden is not something that worries me too much. Then you've got Matisse Thybulle rounding out the starting lineup, and I actually didn't talk about Tobias Harris, yes, but let's talk about Matisse Thybulle first. Thybulle's defense is incredible. He is easily one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA, and he covers for so many mistakes when he's on the floor. The dude really looks like he's two people out there. He does the work of two defenders by himself every time he is on the floor. It's phenomenal to watch. However, his three-point shot has been a point of contention this year, and it's something that's going to follow him through the playoffs. When he is shooting well, there was some stat, like, before the Raptors game, the Sixers had not lost a game where Matisse Thybulle scored double-digit points, and it's because when he's shooting well, this offense is pretty much impossible to stop. When you have to respect Matisse Thybulle's three-pointer, how are you supposed to guard this lineup? You can't. However, there are some nights where he goes 0 of 2 from 3 to start, and then he just stops shooting. He just gets scared of himself, he stops attacking as much, and that is something he needs to fix. He's not going to be an all-time three-point shooter. He's not going to become prime Danny Green out here or Klay Thompson, but he just needs to shoot enough that the defense has to respect him, and once in a while that's going to result in an 0 for 6 night. He had one of them this season. It's ugly. It's bad. But sometimes he's going to go 1 for 3, and maybe that's all we need from Thybulle. With how good he is on defense, if he can just make 1 or 2 three-pointers, and he can keep cutting to the basket because his chemistry with James Harden is immaculate. It's fantastic to watch these two players play together. James finds him so often with these tight spaces for an easy dunk or an easy layup. I love watching them play together. They really are a perfect fit. But Thybulle just needs to stay aggressive. The biggest thing is him staying aggressive, and I hope that he will be able to do that, because he's had some good games here and there, and the only thing that anyone on the team is saying is, Thybulle, you need to stay aggressive, you need to shoot more. So I'm hoping he takes that in, and he keeps doing it. Now, Tobias Harris, on the other hand, I don't know, because Tobias Harris has had this issue ever since he became a Sixer. Some nights he looks great, some nights he doesn't. The other night against the Heat, he started 2 for 8 and then finished the game going 4 for 4. That is what I want to see from him more. I know he's not going to be a sniper every night. He's going to have some weird layups that don't go in. It's just who he is. He's overpaid, but he is still a very good player. His defense has looked good this season. We just need him to stay aggressive. When Tobias Harris gets an open three-point shooter, he has to take it. He has to take it. You cannot be passing up open threes, Harris. You just can't. Now, despite everything I just said about some of the starters, I really do believe this starting lineup is good enough to win a championship. I think that there is enough raw talent and decent chemistry in this starting lineup to take the Sixers to the title. My big issue with this team comes from the bench. Yes, we just had some great games from Maxey and Shake. Maxey's a starter, I don't know why I said his name. Shake and Korkmaz just played great. George Niang, even though he had a little slump recently and a bunch of morons were saying he's a scrub, he's been really good off the bench for the team all year. But Danny Green has looked completely washed. The man moves like 40-year-old Dirk Nowitzki out there. He can't keep up with anyone, and his three-point shot is inconsistent at best. Meanwhile, the backup center rotation, oh man, I'm going to try not to go on a full rant here, but let me say it like this. Doc Rivers, why the fuck are you playing DeAndre Jordan? Why are you playing him? Why are you playing him? Can someone tell me, please, why DeAndre Jordan, who does nothing except for catch lobs and get putbacks, and is shooting 42% on those lobs and putbacks, is on the floor over Paul Reed? I know that Paul Reed has some foul issues, I'm aware, but at least he tries. At least he hustles, he gets a few good, blocks and steals out there. He catches lobs properly on offense and dunks them. He actually finishes them. He doesn't just randomly lose the ball in his hands. He doesn't stare off into space when he's guarding the league MVP and let him get an open layup, okay? Paul Reed will work his butt off. Charles Bassey has potential. Give these guys some minutes to try and make the rotation, because at this point, I really think that the 8 to 10 minutes a game that go to either DeAndre Jordan or Paul Millsap in the playoffs could kill this team. The rest of the bench is iffy, okay? You need at least 2 of the 3, or 2 of the 4, I will say, of Niang, Green, Milton, and Korkmaz. You need 2 of those 4 guys to be on fire from 3 every night. And given how decent they have been throughout their careers as three-point shooters, I think that that is a dubious, but very much accomplishable bet to make. These guys can shoot threes. Niang's been very good. And then Korkmaz and Shake, you know that they can be very good bench players. They're inconsistent. Give them some more minutes, play the crap out of them at the end of the season, try to get at least one of them into a consistent rhythm as a backup player so you can survive those backup wing minutes. But the backup centers, Millsap and DJ are 2 of the worst players in the entire NBA. Neither of them should be in the league, and you just can't play them. At least give Paul Reed a chance. Please. Because if we have to depend on 10 minutes of DeAndre Jordan in a playoff game, those 10 minutes could kill us. They've been killing us so far in the regular season. He has an atrocious, minus 42 or something, and that was a week ago. I'm sure it's even worse by now. DeAndre Jordan sucks. Paul Millsap has no legs. At least put in some young guys who are going to try, then instead of playing these veterans who we know are garbage. That is the biggest issue with the Sixers. Their bench is terrible, and if Doc Rivers does not experiment some more, does not figure something out, this team could lose in the second round because of the 8 minutes that DeAndre Jordan comes off the bench for. They really could. That is, I truly believe that DeAndre Jordan alone is bad enough to lose us a playoff series with his play, because Doc Rivers is a stubborn dumbass who won't give the young guys a chance. That is my take on the Philadelphia 76ers. The starting lineup, championship caliber, has a few kinks, but very, very good. The bench is suspect. The bench will make or break this team. We really need to see some more consistency out of them. And please, please, Lord, don't let me see another minute of DeAndre Jordan this season. I never want to see him play in a Sixers uniform, or really any type of basketball uniform, again.